Hello, this is Luminousz Star. Welcome to the channel. All of my stars. Mwah. Thank you so much for your subscription. Thank you for motivating me and inspiring me to keep this channel active. All of you who are visiting for the first time, welcome to Luminousz Star. Hit that subscription button below and you will become a part of the Star family. Today's video. Once the narcissist has your family spellbound, they may not ever wake up. I'm going to go over a few points and tools. Please mind the description box below for further details to today's video. Please share and like today's video. First point, many who have families that he or she loves and cares for unfortunately have noticed that their family seems spellbound or under a spell by a particular family member who has a narcissistic personality or a cluster B personality. The main challenge for these individuals often is to attempt to wake the rest of his or her family up to the potential damages of dysfunctional families. It is only natural to wish to have a family whereas all are safe, healthy, and happy. Well, yes, actually, this is very natural. A lot of us have family members that we still love and care about, even though some of us have gone no contact. This does not mean that we have written them off as something very negative. There are times that some of us still have nostalgia and we think of those good times, the highlightable moments. And then there's times that we feel sadness because sometimes we do remember those moments that were very scary, maybe even very painful and tragic. Usually it is a very difficult challenge for those who have gone no contact from their family to face the fact that certain family members that they still love may not ever wake up to what's really going on in the family, their dysfunctional family. There are potential damages, such as mental illness, emotional illness. There could be even psychological issues, or some may end up being neurotic or having neurosis, even psychosis. Some family members, they go for a long time before they actually reach the breaking point. They go for a long time within the dysfunctional family, and sometimes they even remain loyal to the narcissistic family member, and they may not ever have that so-called breakdown. But either way it goes, every family member of a dysfunctional family does not walk away unscathed. So some of us who have chosen to walk away from our dysfunctional families, it is not out of vindictiveness or being mean or, something that is very negative. Actually, for most of us, it was the last resort. We had tried, we had hung in there for a long time. We had hoped, prayed, wished for, even tried to negotiate with certain family members to no avail. So it's only natural to wish the best for family members regardless of how things turned out. It's all too often that the narcissist who heads a dysfunctional family usually does so like a cult leader. Thought reforms are practiced frequently in order to well supply the narcissistic family member who emotionally bullies and manipulates his or her family in order to feed their false self-image while attempting to maintain a strong sense of control over their family. Unfortunately, there are a lot of narcissistic family members who are heading the household, or they're one of the parents, or they are the guardian in the dysfunctional family, and they have some power. Unfortunately, they abuse their power. All too often, the narcissistic family member will abuse his or her role within the family. Some of them, like I stated, are parents or they're older family members who are guardians. Very often, these narcissistic family members will emotionally bully and manipulate other family members into submission. This does not mean that certain family members who are also adults who are responsible for children within that family, this does not get them off the hook. When a family member is responsible for children, whether it's a dysfunctional family or not, he or she is still responsible for the upbringing and the well-being of children within that family setting. So when this is something that is neglected, the narcissistic family member usually sees this and they take advantage. All of this is to feed their false self-image. Now we're going to go over what thought reforms are. You can actually watch this video. It's about 7 minutes. It's in the description box below. Pardon me, the link is in the description box below if you would like to watch it later. Hi, I'm Luminousz Star. Welcome to my channel, Luminousz Star. For you guys and gals who are current subscribers, wait for it. Mwah! Thank you so much for being my stars. It is you who keep me motivated to keep this channel active. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. You guys and gals, you share your stories, you leave some awesome comments, and I really appreciate this because when you share your story, you are absolutely helping other people on the planet. Just want you to know that. For you guys and gals who are visiting Luminousz Star for the first time, welcome to the Luminousz Star, and why don't you join the Luminousz Star family by hitting that subscription button below. Also below, you will find a disclaimer in the description box. Please read the information in the description box. There's a disclaimer that states that today's video will have images as well as information that some viewers will absolutely find disturbing, okay? And having said that, today's video is about narcissistic parents who run the dysfunctional family like a cult leader. I'm going to get into thought reform programs, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background of what cults are, okay? So again, mind the description box below where the disclaimer is, and for those of you who will remain and watch this video today, thank you for your purchase in advance, thank you for your donations, and also thank you for your time. I'm Luminousz Star. Enjoy the video.
The malignant narcissist has a desire deep down of bringing down other people in a way that they feel brought down. And that leads to extremes.
According to Kilduff's research, people were working inhumane hours, often 7 days a week, on the temple's various programs. At the temple itself, members were forced to confess to fabricated crimes for which they would be given vicious beatings. Ex-members asserted even children were being abused in this way. According to their descriptions, Jones was a classic cult leader, using spirituality to exert power psychologically and sexually over his cult.
Children, very often, parents who either have a narcissistic personality disorder or they have a cluster B personality, what often happens is that they will groom their children either to develop a narcissistic personality disorder or a cluster B personality, or they're going to groom that child to become a person who grows up to behave codependently. Narcissists have a sixth sense about which child to choose to be a safe victim for their supply. So what the narcissist does is they break that child down more by sexually molesting them. Female narcissists usually have a very strange relationship with their sons while seemingly choosing to their daughters to scapegoat. Okay, so while some female narcissists who have sons, especially the eldest son, she tends to choose the eldest son to have sexual relationships with, while she seemingly chooses the eldest daughter to scapegoat. Examples of how male narcissists use sex as a weapon. Going over to the left side, during sexual intercourse, male narcissists receive supply by giving their sexual partners everything that they do not like about themselves. Just like I was saying in the previous slide, you know, female narcissist, she's scoping out every aspect in the partner, the sexual partner that she has for source of supply. All their weaknesses, all their fears, you know, everything about them that she can use as a source of supply. During the sex act, her sense is heightened. Her sense of prowling and becoming being a predator is heightened, as well as a male narcissist.
Cults share certain defining characteristics. In a cult, leaders recruit members through deceptive techniques that rob them of their identity and individuality. Experts have termed these techniques thought reform.
Thought reform is a systematic effort which has two stages.
The
term brainwashing is a popular term describing what's classically called a thought reform program. And all those terms mean that a person or an organization has put into place a coordinated program of coercive influence and behavior control.
Now, I think this is satanic. The purpose of this is to cleanse the group as a whole by sacrificing the scapegoat. This is seen within the dysfunctional family headed by the narcissist as a righteous, guys, pinpoint that word righteous, because I'm going to make a point about that, as a righteous thing to do, while also possibly obtaining a life of narcissistic supply. It is perhaps from the perspective of the dysfunctional family that the scapegoat is not an individual who possesses a heart, a mind, a spirit, a higher consciousness, or even a soul. The scapegoat is devalued within the dysfunctional family. So basically, guys, what we have here is the child who was pinpointed, unfortunately, to be the scapegoat. Not only are they devalued, but within that devaluation, they are demonized by other family members within the dysfunctional family. And this is headed by the narcissistic parent.
Thought reform is a systematic effort which has two stages. One is the breakdown stage with heavy confession and a breakdown of one's own psychic integrity. And then there's the second stage, which is re-education, trying to remake a person into a new person.
Earth, our home, incubator of life.
Okay, next point. There are some who have come to learn that regardless of numerous attempts to save, rescue, warn, and point out the various source supply tactics of the narcissistic family member to other family members, their loved ones may not ever wake up to what's happening to them. Very often, family members within a dysfunctional family headed by a narcissist will sometimes be loyal to the narcissist. And this could be for various reasons, from the fact that the narcissist had groomed that particular family member since their childhood. They have groomed that family member to become, they have groomed the family member to develop a narcissistic personality disorder or a cluster B personality disorder. And sometimes these are what you call the golden children in the dysfunctional family. That's one reason, but there's other reasons for them being loyal and remaining loyal to the narcissistic family member who is heading the dysfunctional family. But regardless of numerous attempts to save and rescue and warn other families about what's going on in the dysfunctional family, this sometimes comes to no avail. So a lot of people, when it comes to their dysfunctional family being headed by a narcissistic family member, they watch their other families being destroyed. It may be gradual, it may be slow, but the bottom line is this: no family member within a dysfunctional family walks away unscathed. Those of us who still have some concern for family members who may still be living or still having a investment in the dysfunctional family, well, there have been many attempts due to concern. There are many people who have attempted to save their family from the narcissist's grip, even though the narcissist may be a family member. But again, to no avail. So they've come to learn that regardless of those attempts to save and rescue, even warn other family members about the supply tactics of the narcissist, is to no avail. And as I stated, it may be various reasons for those family members to remain loyal to the narcissist and turn a deaf ear to the loved one who is trying to warn him or her. Those family members who may begin to understand the shenanigans of the narcissistic family member may comply as well as conspire with him or her for their own survival within the dysfunctional family. This happens very often within dysfunctional families headed by a narcissistic family member. Family members are loyal to the narcissist because they benefit in some way, shape, or form. The family member who has been selected as scapegoat by the narcissist in the family, sometimes he or she grows up never realizing that some of those family members that they are confiding in are actually spying for the narcissistic family member who has selected them to be the scapegoat. Unfortunately, this is something that is very common within dysfunctional families headed by a narcissistic family member. Those shenanigans from the narcissist, they seem to go on forever. So those family members who are spellbound by the narcissistic family member, they may not ever wake up, and the reasons vary. So for their own survival, those family members who are loyal to the narcissist, they will conspire with the narcissistic family member. So when the family member who has been deemed scapegoat confides in him or her, sometimes they're not even aware that they're being reported about to the narcissistic family member. And this is also something that happens very often. This is why it's also very important, once going no contact, just remain no contact. This can be tough sometimes though, because a lot of people who have gone no contact from the dysfunctional family headed by the narcissistic family member, they don't do it out of vindictiveness. In other words, they walk away and they go no contact and they still love their families. This is often the case. Okay, next point. This oftentimes leaves those family members who have been selected as scapegoat feeling alienated, lonely, and frustrated. However, over time, he or she usually regains a sense of strength and courage in order to thrive forward. So many people who have been selected as scapegoat within their dysfunctional families headed by the narcissistic family member, often they do over time regain their strength and courage in order to thrive forward. Hopefully this will encourage everyone who's watching this video and this particular situation pertains to you. All right, so over time, the strength and the courage is regained. And it is oftentimes that one may feel alienated and lonely and frustrated due to trying to reach out to family members who have turned a deaf ear, only to remain loyal to the narcissistic family member and only to report everything that has been confided in him or her to the narcissistic family member. This happens all too often. So the family member who has been selected scapegoat by the narcissistic family member does often feel alienated. They don't feel a part of their families, even though they love and care for the families. How ironic is that? And sometimes there's the loneliness. But again, as I stated, over time, he or she does regain a sense of strength and courage in order to thrive forward. Okay, now I want to go ahead and point out 4 reasons why it's a bad idea to attempt to rescue family members. Reason number 1, the narcissistic family member has recruited him or her to become either a flying monkey or an enabler for a lifetime. Second reason, other family members are emotionally invested, therefore tend to remain loyal to the narcissistic family member for a very long time. And sometimes this is also for a lifetime. Third reason, there are family members who receive benefits emotionally, sexually, and financially from the narcissistic family member. Last reason, often there is found to be animosity along with others, often there is found to be animosity along with other negative emotions towards those family members who have been selected as scapegoat by the narcissistic family members. I want to go for the last reason first, because this one is the highlightable reason. A lot of those who have been selected scapegoat by the narcissistic family member, very often what happens is that when he or she reaches out to other family members, and this may have been going on for quite some time, the scapegoated family member does not realize until way down the road that those family members that he or she may have been confiding in for all those years about the narcissist, that those family members secretly have animosity towards him or her, maybe some resentments, maybe some other negative emotions, such as jealousy, which is exactly playing into the hands of the narcissistic family member, because this is what they want in order to feed their false self-image. As long as the scapegoated family member looks like the bad girl or the bad guy, this means that the narcissistic family member will look or appear to be the opposite, the person who's the victim, the person who's being mistreated, when the reality is it's the other way around. Unfortunately, lots of family members don't realize this until later, or some of them never realize it. The first reason the narcissistic family member has recruited him or her to become either a flying monkey or an enabler for a lifetime. One of the things that happens is that the narcissistic family member absolutely sets it up within their dysfunctional family to be well supplied for a lifetime. So when you have family members who have been recruited to either be a flying monkey or an enabler, 9 times out of 10 chances when you factor in that they are loyal to the narcissistic family member, that's usually going to be for their lifetime, many years, and that will not change. So that's one reason why it's a bad idea to attempt to rescue family members within that dysfunctional family headed by the narcissistic family member. Second reason, other family members are emotionally invested, therefore tend to remain loyal to the narcissistic family member for a very long time. Well, that's pretty self-explanatory. Those family members who are loyal, yes, they're probably benefiting emotionally and in other ways. And that's the third reason there, and I'll get to that in a minute. But other family members who are emotionally invested, they do tend to remain loyal to the narcissistic family member for a very long time, usually for a lifetime. Third reason, there are family members who receive benefits emotionally, sexually, and financially from the narcissistic family member. So that spouse more than likely will remain loyal to the narcissistic family member, regardless of the shenanigans, regardless of all of the terrible tactics for source supply from the narcissist or by the narcissist. So there are family members who do benefit. It doesn't always have to be just sexually. Sometimes it's just emotionally. The narcissistic family member may have children, and some of those children may see or perceive things the way that the narcissistic family member does. They may also benefit financially. But I do want to say the spouse of the narcissistic family member, usually all three of these apply. They are benefiting emotionally, sexually, and financially. Their children, if the narcissistic family member has children, all or some of the children will benefit emotionally as well as financially. Now, as far as like sexually, when it comes to the narcissistic family member, unfortunately, sometimes they do sexually molest the children within the dysfunctional family, or the child who has been deemed a scapegoat, while the other children may not be sexually molested. This is often the case. The narcissistic family member usually just selects one child to sexually molest, while the rest of the children may be abused in other various forms. So there are family members who receive benefits emotionally, sexually, and financially from the narcissistic family member. And of course, the narcissistic family member is doing this all under the guise of manipulation. If the narcissistic family member did not manipulate other family members to be around him or her, a lot of those family members would not be loyal, because they would see who the narcissistic family member really is and what they really represent. Just take manipulation off the table and the whole dynamic changes. Let's move forward. Tool number 1, build a support base. Tool number 2, consider engaging in activities that bring you joy. Tool number 3, keep a journal of your life experiences in order to leave behind your awesome legacy. Pause. I want to go right to tool number 3. Keep a journal. A lot of people may think, well, keeping a journal, I don't have time, or, whatever, right? However, I just want to leave with you one way of looking at doing a journal or keeping a journal or writing in your journal. This is an excellent way to leave behind your awesome legacy. This is a way to keep your legacy alive. You leave behind an awesome legacy. You've gone through some things. Don't let that be buried with you. Don't let your pain be in vain. Speak about it. You never know who's going to resonate with your story. So keeping a journal is one excellent way to leave behind your awesome legacy. Just picture somebody reading your journals after you have permitted your journals to be read. That can be for many reasons why you would allow somebody to read your journal. For most of us, it would be after we've passed on. But that is one way to leave behind an awesome legacy. You have experienced something within your family. You thrived, you survived, and you're here. You can write the epilogue to your story. How awesome is that? So leaving behind an awesome legacy via writing a journal is excellent, and I think it's a game changer. Last tool, practice personal boundaries, assertion, emotional discipline, and self-preservation. These are real game changers that can help you to become mindful of your overall well-being as you continue to thrive forward. References and resources can be found in the description box below. Please take a few minutes of your time and just look through these. The video that I shared with you is the first link. I'm Luminousz Star. Thank you so much for your time, and stay tuned for more videos.